in the state capital of Texas on this Saturday night. It's a Lone Star State clash. First of 3 scheduled meetings in Group D between the home squad, Austin Bold, and the visiting Toros from South Texas at Rio Grande Valley. Lincoln Rose, Arch Bell with you. And Arch, we take a look at these two teams colliding for the first of 3 meetings this regular season. For RGV, they are looking for their first win on the Young campaign. A couple of draws. You add it all up, just 2 points in the Group D standings. But they, like the Bold, with a full 3 points tonight, could find themselves back in the hunt for one of those 2 playoff spots out of Group D.
Lincoln, it's absolutely a must-win for both teams looking to snap a couple losing streaks out there. See if they can do it tonight.
RGV, you take a look at a man perhaps they'll be relying on tonight. It's the rookie Garrett Mclaughlin, part of this young roster. The former standout at SMU, led them to several trophies there in the American Athletic Conference. Now looking to kick off his professional debut, leading the way for the Toros.
Well, McLaughlin, he really needs to get a goal to get that confidence going, not only for himself and the Toros attack.
Meanwhile, for the Austin Bold, of course, they knew they'd return to play during this pandemic without Andre Lima, without Chris Tierpak. So that's Billy Forbes' time to shine. He opened up his Bold account against his former team, San Antonio, last week.
Forbes with a great goal last week, was dangerous the whole night. See if he can get another goal here tonight for the Bold.
Austin Bold, RGVFC Toros opening kick. First of 3 meetings in this Texas clash coming up.
Introducing Budweiser Nitro Gold, a first-of-its-kind lager infused with nitro for a taste as smooth as silk. Flip, pour hard, wait for it.
No matter what pops up during your day, Ascension makes it easy to get the care you need. See a doctor at home 24/7 with Ascension Online Care. Visit ascension.org/online care. No matter what pops up during your day, Ascension makes it easy to get the care you need. Anytime, from anywhere, with Ascension Online Care. Visit ascension.org/online care.
Crack open summer with the taste of freedom. Budweiser's red, white, and blue camo cans. Available for a limited time only. In stores now.
Valuable points on the line in Group D as these two Texas sides collide. First of 3 meetings, as the subsequent 2 will come later this year, both down in the Valley. Take a look at the starting 11 for Gerson Echeverry Arch. Just a couple of changes. The most notable one, perhaps, back in goal, his assistant coach, who also doubles as a player, Ryan Coulter, will get the nod.
Yeah, Coulter with the nod, and up top you got McLaughlin, who we mentioned earlier, to see if he can get his first goal. Also Beckford in the side, who has a goal this season.
Across the way, the Austin Bold, who defeated RGV. Their only 2 meetings last year. 1-0 down in the Valley, 3-0 for the Copa Tejas crown here in Austin. Looking to remain unblemished back in goal. Diego Restrepo looking for another clean sheet. Again, you're looking at the dynamic duo now of Clever and Forbes up top.
Yeah, up top, those two hoping to combine and produce some magic for the Bold tonight. Some reshuffling in midfield. Chumasi back in the side, so we'll be curious to see how he fares.
And of course, Jorge Troncoso continues to find his way into the lineup for his head coach, Marcelo Serrano. Tonight, it's as a starting man on the back line.
And Troncoso, basically a jack of all trades. He can play fullback, midfield, up top on the wing. He can do it all.
Again, it is a Austin Bold defensive unit that is still without the veteran Edson Braffide, still anticipating the birth of his child. After that birth, looks to rejoin the club. Bold had opportunities in each of the last 2 matches, both here at home. But only Billy Forbes able to convert last time. Kleber tries to sneak one through to his new teammate from Turks and Caicos. RGV able to withstand that attack. RGV at least thrilled that the whistle came on time. They had to wait 3 hours during a rain delay. Back at home against FC Tulsa last weekend, the match didn't end until Sunday morning because there was another hour-plus delay right before halftime.
I mean, just a wild night down there in Edinburgh for that match between RGV and Tulsa. Talking with RGV head coach Gerson Echeverry this week, and it was a tough situation for his team. They're hoping to bounce back, and a win would really kind of, get this team kick-started in the right direction.
Toros fell behind early, only to equal it up, just to see all 3 points leave the Valley thanks to a late penalty awarded. And a foul is going to stop things here. Austin Bold cannot afford to see men not get up. Jorge Troncoso does get up. The yellow is awarded to Robert Coronado, who continues to make every start this year on the back line for Gerson Echeverry, as Luis Guardia, our veteran official, joined by Francisco Bermudez and Ricardo Ocampo, his 2 assistants. And there is the only man ever to be head coach of RGV for 3 seasons. First man to return for year number 3. A lot of times when you see these clubs that are directly affiliated with Major League Soccer, you'll see coaches come and go each season as the development process continues, but a lot of faith in what Coach Gerson Echeverry is able to accomplish down there.
Yeah, he's done a good job and looking to get things pointed in the right direction this season for this team.
Chance here for his Toros, and that ball will get slipped past Diego Restrepo. Off balance, fell to his right, able to slot it home for a rare early advantage, courtesy of Cabado.
Well, just what the doctor ordered for RGV. Talking with Echeverry this week, he said, we need goals, we need better finishing in the final third, and ladies and gentlemen, there it is right there, able to get the finish into net, an early 1-0 lead. Just a great way to start for RGV. They couldn't have asked for a better start.
Kimbo Cabano with his first goal, the former product of the Toronto FC Academy. He'll turn 20 next month. And all of a sudden, a lead for Ryan Coulter to work with, his first minutes in frame. Last year, he was in League One as a player coach for Forward Madison.
What's really interesting, Lincoln, is in these 3 straight home games that the Bold have had since the restart, they've gone down in each one of those games. They've been able to bounce back, and they've showed a lot of resilience, being able to pull level, but in the end, losing both of those games. So they're going to try to do that again tonight to try to at least pull even and then perhaps take the lead, but not the way that Marcelo Serrano and this Austin Bold team wanted to start.
Again, there you see our match officials. 4th official Gerald Flores these days has to work a little harder for the money with 5 substitutes allowed. Kleber able to turn, eyes up the pitch as Tomasi out wide, second year on loan from FC Dallas. Strong finish last year for Tomasi, but a giveaway here to RGV. RGV has not put up multiple goals yet this season. Still looking for their first victory. A pair of draws against SAFC and on the road at Oklahoma City. They're 2 points thus far. Problem for RGV is none of their matches have been postponed yet, so they already have 6 matches under their belt with 2 points to show for it. If you want to see glass half full for Austin with some coronavirus-related postponements, it means so far 3 points through 3 matches. They have a lot of points on the table left, but it also means they will be playing a lot of 2-match per week scheduling arrangements the rest of the way, including a 5-match road trip coming up.
And with some absences, some injuries, that's going to be pretty taxing on that squad. And the guys are going to have to step up. Maybe guys who don't get as many minutes are really going to have to fill that void.
Fabian Garcia missed most of last year with injury. Back this year, fortifying that back line for the Bold. It's allowed Amobio Kugo to move up from center back into the midfield. This ball slips away from Kleber and company. RGV able to strike early. Kimbo Cabado, the 19-year-old, finds the goal after looking Diego Restrepo off to the wrong direction.
You can see already, Lincoln, it's a much more aggressive RGV team than what we've seen in previous contests against Tulsa, against San Antonio, and that's what Echeverri has wanted out of this team. Better decision-making, but also more aggressiveness in the final third, and that aggressiveness paid off with that early goal, a great cross, and they were able to get a goal out of it with Cabado.
Jermaine Taylor able to keep that ball away from Garrett McLaughlin. Cabado tripped up, and the ball will stay on this end with RGV. Both these franchises, such great parks to play in. Of course, HB Park down there in the valley, beautiful home. Of course, all those seats empty. Same the case here at Bold Stadium, at least for the rest of the month. These teams will meet 3 times this regular season. Ball taken away. Coronado sends one right at Restrepo, 6 yards off his line.
Good shot there from Coronado, the man who picked up the yellow card just seconds into the game. But again, an aggressive approach, an attacking approach from RGV. You know, they're showing that ability to transition, make those right decisions. Echeverri doesn't want his guys going at it alone in the final third and in the box. He really wants them to combine and work together, and we're seeing some of that tonight.
Coronado among the returners for RGB this year, trying to match his goal total from a year ago with that first goal. Just coming up short, stopped by Restrepo. Coronado, who turned 24, looking for a belated birthday celebration. And you take a look at FC Tulsa, who steps outside of Group D play tonight. Midway through against St. Louis. Just give you a heads up that the only other Group D matchup tonight is San Antonio and Oklahoma City, as Christian Pirano has given SAFC the first half advantage. Troncoso looking to set up the equalizer. RGV able to do just enough. Here's Jome with his new teammates. Top of the 18, Kleber, where he does his best work, but right into an orange wall.
This is much better from the Bold. Troncoso on that previous play, a good cross from the right. Jome doing his thing on the left. Jome had a really nice performance last week, I thought, against San Antonio on that left wing. So, Austin, this is a veteran team, experienced team. They know how to handle adversity.
Kleber, the Brazilian, back in the starting lineup after coming off the bench for the final 45 against San Antonio last week. A reminder, Austin had less than 2 days worth of practice before their matchup against those rivals from the Alamo City. Finally, a full week of practice, although a little shorthanded still. They did bolster their depth, at least at goalkeeper, with a pair of additions from the Lone Star Academy, well known here in Austin and Central Texas. And that, as a result, has allowed assistant coach Ryan Thompson to avoid what Ryan Coulter's going through right now, and that is putting on a kit, putting down the clipboard.
Yeah, I can't overstate that enough, Lincoln, just to be able to add some goalkeeper depth, number one. And then number two, just more time on the training field. I mean, speaking with Marcelo Serrano last week, it was really tough to get ready for San Antonio. You're trying to, use these different parts, and sometimes you don't even have a full squad. And then, but this week, much better prepared and a better plan that they could put into place.
Montez Dioff, the 20-year-old, one of the two Montverde Academy products out of Florida. "15 returners this year for the Bold. A lot of men signed last year to 3-year deals to create some consistency. A lot of them great veterans. Tuamasi was among the late additions. Dioff new this year. And the man down right now for RGV, Isidro Martinez, one of the local products for RGV, the pride of Brownsville. We'll get another look right here.
And here's the tackle right there. And I think they're going to get Dioff on the foul, but Dioff, who kind of struggled a little bit against Oklahoma City, but rebounded really nicely last week against San Antonio. I like the way he played, much more direct, willing to take defenders on 1v1. So looking to get involved in this one, but a great opportunity for him to be able to learn from experienced guys like Kleber, like Billy Forbes, and that goes for all the other younger guys on this Bold team. There's a lot of great international and club experience on this side.
Looking to link up over the top with Deshane Beckford. Troncoso trying to slow him down. Ball spills loose briefly, a single dribble back into the arms of Restrepo. So the Bold give up a rare early goal in this opening half. That is the first goal RGV has scored against Austin. Though we're mindful, of course, this is only the second year they have met. Billy Forbes with a touch, 18 out. And he draws the attention he deserves from those men in the orange kits.
Just a little bit of miscommunication there between Forbes and Javi Baez, but you see also the spark that Chumasi is providing in his return back to the starting 11.
Yeah, Ima Chumasi out of Ghana. A couple of years in the ACC at Wake Forest.
That is a factory of top players. Mark McKenzie, John Baquero. Some very good players here in North America that have come from that Wake Forest program.
I think you were trading tweets recently talking about weather-related items with a former. Did Austin Duluth play there?
He might have. He might have. Yeah, of course, Austin Duluth part of a Carolina Railhawks team from the 2012 NASL that they had a similar, I think it was a 4-hour delay and finished in the wee hours of the night.
Jones sends it through. Tomasi looking to open up his account. Corner kick coming up for the Bold. A big set-piece opportunity, trailing by 1 as we say farewell to the 12th minute.
And the Bold have done a really nice job this season taking advantage of those dead ball situations, those set pieces. The first goal last week against San Antonio came off of a set piece opportunity, a free kick that Forbes was able to redirect into net. So they'll be looking for something similar here.
Tomasi will be the short option for Javi Baez. Midway through the 13th minute, down by 1. And that one right into the fingertips of Coulter. Again, Ryan Coulter, the 31-year-old out of Ireland, joined RGV this year with dual responsibilities, both an assistant coach as well as a man they'd perhaps rely upon some between the pipes. It's his first start. Paul Blanchette had started and finished each of the first 6 matches this season. Blanchette was actually number 2 in the USL Championship this year with 20 saves through 6 matches. That's not always a stat you want for your keeper. You'd like for slightly fewer balls to make their way to that final line. A lot of that happened in that March affair in the season opener against Los Dos. Troncoso gets to this one, sends it into touch.
Yeah, that was a tough opener for RGV, losing that game 5-1 to Los Dos, but You know, even in this restart, I think their defense has played very well, keeping teams within striking distance to within a goal, and it's just been a question of trying to get this attack ignited. And the signs here early on in this one are really good for RGV, and exactly what Echeverry was hoping for.
Toros have played to a draw or just a single goal defeat in all of their other matches since then. Right now they have a lead on the road. Austin last year was a fortress here at home until late in the season, but they're still looking for their first win at home, with the exception of that March opener against New Mexico United.
I think looking at the Bold right now, going forward, they really need to get Kleber more involved. You know, let him use that big body of his for some hold-up play, so then he can dish off to like a Tomasi, to a Forbes. But really right now, the big Brazilian not getting the touches, and that man right there, Javi Baia, is also a player that you want over the ball. You want him getting those touches, being able to distribute, to create.
Well, since 1947, Select has been the leader in soccer ball quality and innovation. Select is the official ball supplier of the USL Championship and many of the elite leagues throughout Europe. For the latest Select products and special offers, you can visit selectsportamerica.com. Lincoln Rose, Arch Bell with you. We are here on site at Bold Stadium. No fans allowed. Members of the media were welcomed back here tonight. Marcelo Serrano opting to take this one in person as well, as it was just yesterday he had his John Hancock placed on a couple of contracts, welcoming in a couple of new young keepers.
And credit to the Bold, they have done such a good job in bringing in local players, Austin area players to join this club, to join this team, get some valuable experience. And what a great opportunity for those two young goalkeepers to be in a great professional environment like this.
You and I had a chance to talk with his top assistant yesterday, Ryan Thompson, who Coach Thompson reminded us he first crossed paths with Marcelo back in Florida, where Ryan was an All-American in Division II at the University of Tampa. Tampa was actually set to host this year's national championship, but Division II has canceled their fall championships, understandably. Same the case for Division III. But Ryan Thompson recalled just having a big smile on his face when he saw that the call was from Marcelo, and he was going to invite him to be a coach on his staff.
And those two, they work so well together, just great chemistry.
Their second year together now. Play continues after Kleber hits the deck. Murphy swings it out one. Tuamasi tries to get to it first. And a corner kick now for RGV, looking for insurance for the first time this year.
Yeah, you can see on the previous play right here, Kleber, he wanted the foul. He thought that he was pushed there from behind by Murphy, but no call forthcoming. You could see Kleber, a little frustration out of him tonight. That's, the typical Brazilian. The Brazilians, they want the ball. They want to be able to have the ball at their feet. And when it's not coming, they get a little frustrated. So, again, going back to my previous point, it's really imperative for the Bull to utilize Kleber, such an experienced player, great passer.
Martinez from the corner. And Bold with the first touch. Isidro Martinez, we mentioned, not just a Brownsville product, but before he wore the colors of RGV FC, he wore the colors of UT-RGV. The Vaqueros, of course, that school previously UT Pan Am, merging with UT Brownsville's athletic departments. There's Isidro, who's been basically a reliable everyday starter for the past season and a half now. Oh, ball almost found its way to McLaughlin.
That was a good look there.
But Garcia able to intervene. Otherwise, Garrett McLaughlin may have been staring down Diego Restrepo. Bold can level this at any time. A tad heavy for Kleber. Will it settle for Dioff? Back into the midfield to Okugo. Kleber from 25 yards out. Often can finish. That time was looking for a teammate, not on the same page.
Yeah, but you see right there, you see what Kleber can do. That was a decent look right there, just not on the same page. But I think if they can get him the ball more in the Bold, if they can keep that going there with that kind of rhythm, especially in transition, that they'll have some good success. What I'm noticing right now, Lincoln, is Billy Forbes. There's a good battle there, kind of banging with the center back there from RGV, and that's Robert Castellanos, and Echeverry just gushing with praise about the job that Castellanos has done this season. Is really says he's just emerged as a leader for that back line.
Castellanos in his 3rd year. Right now, Bold only have 10 men on their feet. And finally, a whistle comes in with concern for a man down back at midfield.
Yeah, Castellanos, Echeverry saying that he's the guy, he always makes the right decision. He's the leader. He's really found himself this season. And it's been a tough going for RGV, the fact that they haven't won a game yet. So among some of the positives is definitely the play of Castellanos.
19 minutes in.
And that's not what you want to see if you're Marcelo Serrano or an Austin Bold fan. With a limited bench already and squad depth, a challenge, the last thing you want to have happen is an injury to occur.
And that's Jermaine Taylor, who got the start as captain on the back line last weekend.
Especially a guy like Taylor.
100 caps on the Jamaican national team, former member of the best 11 in the Gold Cup. Yep. And the concern, of course, is Sion McFarland had to leave last weekend banged up. Same was the case with Valeri Saramutin not available tonight. McFarland is available off the bench. Don't know if he would be full speed, however. And Austin had to make first half substitutions 7 nights ago. They're hoping Taylor can continue here.
Yeah, you might, some reshuffling. There's some things you could do. You could bring in like a Deviardi in midfield, and maybe you slot a Kugo back to the back line. It all depends on what happens with Taylor. But again, it's not an ideal situation for Austin to lose a guy in the first half.
Meanwhile, RGV successfully not just defending their lead, but looking for insurance much of this first half after Kimbo Cabato got on the board with the lone successful strike here in the opening half. So a Canadian comes down to the Lone Star State and is the difference so far.
The Canadian women's national team trained here before the start of CONCACAF Women's Olympic qualifying. So,
gosh, that is a talented squad for those women. A lot of them familiar actually in the area, including one of the players for University of Texas, and Julia Grosso, a talented midfielder.
And of course, they trained here, and then they went down to Edinburgh, where RGV played their home matches, and then Christine Sinclair set the international goal-scoring record. So plenty of Canadian success here in the Lone Star State in 2020.
And Martinez and Kleber, a little rubbing is racing there appropriately here at the Circuit of the Americas. Tomasi, first match back with Austin. Jome, former switchback from Colorado Springs. But Austin will never test the frame occupied tonight by Ryan Coulter for RGV. Now back up the near touchline with Beckford.
Yeah, Beckford, good player, really very pacey, smart player as well.
Second straight year, he's on loan from his home squad, Montego Bay United. Joined the Reggae Boys in 2019.
And certainly there's a great young group of Jamaican players that are rising through the ranks, and he's one of them.
That time it was Carter Manley from the back line trying to create a little chaos. Ball sent back into touch for the former Loon of Minnesota United. Midway through the opening half, Cabato's goal the difference right now. First Toro to ever score against the Bold in this, their third ever meeting. Forbes able to turn, finds Dioff. Billy Forbes with space, found his first goal as a member of the Bold last weekend. Billy tries to poke one through. This ball still within reach of number 7, but they'll have to settle for a throw. And Antez Dioff was taken out back at midfield and still clutching and a bit hobbled.
Well, the referee correctly played advantage. Forbes was on the run. He just had a heavy touch there as he was bearing down
and I
on
believe
goal.
Did we just get a straight red? I did not see the color, forgive me.
Well, if it's Coronado, it might have been a second yellow because he got a yellow early on. So,
and all of a sudden, shades of last year's Copa Tejas final when RGV could not finish full strength in that critical matchup. Of course, they even had to bring in a rusty keeper late in the match. So Austin has it, as you noted, it's an accumulation. The 2 yellows, second yellow of the match sends Coronado off the pitch. RGV will be playing with no more than 10 men the rest of the night.
Yeah, watching it in real time, Lincoln, I thought it was definitely, it looked like a yellow card offense, not a straight red offense. But either way, Coronado is off. Remember, he got that yellow very early in the game for a rash challenge on Troncoso. Pretty unnecessary. He lost possession, and so here you go. You've got RGV now having to play, gosh, the last 65+ minutes down a man, especially against a team like the Bold. It's a tall task for such a young squad. So Echeverry and his side, they really have their work cut out for him now.
We'll see how that affects the 5 substitutions taken throughout this match by Coach Echeverry. Again, the site tonight, Austin, Texas, Bold Stadium, year 2 of existence. Beautiful venue, this soccer-specific facility. Mentioned both of these franchises with their own home sweet homes, even if it was a little damp at HEB Park last weekend. So right now, just 9 men in bright orange kits, 10 when you count their keeper. Coronado sent off 2 yellows in the first half.
And you can see right here, just looking, RGV basically going with like a 4-3-2 setting up against the Bold, and essentially all 9 men behind the ball, as they're going to be playing it's going to be a much more defensive approach, and when they can try to spring McLaughlin or Beckford on the counter, but otherwise it's going to be much of the play is going to be in this RGV half.
Toros have struggled to have a lead, let alone in the first half this year. All of a sudden they give themselves one, able to hang on to it, but cause themselves harm.
I'm sure it's incredibly frustrating for Echeverry to be faced with this, to have such a great start, and now you're down a man. So it's going to be a test of character for RGV, and then also at the same time for the Bold as well. You don't want to get too desperate, too anxious. You want to stay calm, knowing that you have the man advantage for such a long time.
Troncoso and Baez.
But patiently wait for those chances, because there will be chances. They will come. Just have to wait.
This is one of the older teams in the USL Championship, perhaps witnessing some maturity right here. The Chilean back to Okugo. Tomasi looking for Ish Jome. Jome finds it. This ball deflected, will stay in play. No set piece coming up. Instead, it's Baez. Ball lands at his feet. The Chilean sends in the cross. Jome with the finish. We are level in Austin.
Great goal there for the Bull. That's exactly what they were looking for. They were able to stretch the RGV defense. Space opened up. Cross into Jome. Great finish from Jome. Holy smokes, that left foot. We saw it last week against San Antonio, the way he was able to create chances, forced an own goal. But that's just a great finish there. Really well done from the Bold.
Second straight week, you can credit Ish Jome with leveling the matchup here in Austin.
Lincoln, that's no easy feat what he did right there. Troncoso, really nice cross from here, able to curl it in. And Jome, just the finish, volleying at home. It's like a bow.
And that's the first time Coach Coulter has been truly tested tonight, as Austin finds a goal, mind you, up a man. How long was Austin offensively camped out in that final third?
You just saw that they were able to use some good passing, quick passing, moving the ball rapidly, and they stretched that defense, and then that's where that space opened up.
Troncoso and Baez finally able to dial up Jome. Forbes, no look to Dioff. And a foul on Kleber. will not merit a card. Austin with a victory in their home opener, their season opener against New Mexico, a quality win, but losses against the Energy and San Antonio. Each time they fell behind, came back to level those two contests, but Austin's conceded now 8 goals in their last 2+ matches, including one tonight. And all of a sudden, RGV has to be really careful. Dangerous effort there from James Murphy, who picks up the yellow.
Yeah, Murphy with the yellow, and the last thing you want to have happen is for another man to have to exit with a sending off. So RGV really have to keep their heads here. It's 1-1, still tons of soccer to be played. You still have a result in the pocket if you can hold on to it, but don't want to make any foolish, rash decisions.
The 22-year-old Murphy has seen time both on the U18 and U20 national team rosters for the red, white, and blue. The last year was over in the Scottish Championship. Tomasi, right down the heart of the pitch, lays it off to Billy. Out wide, back to Jome, left-footed delivery, out wide to Troncoso. I have to imagine the heart rate is up a bit for Ryan Coulter. His first appearance on the young season between the pipes.
Well, I think the Bolts smell blood right now, Lincoln. I mean, they know that RGV's vulnerable right now with the sending off, and see if they can try to get a couple more goals in before halftime.
Coronado accumulating 2 yellows in that first half. And a man they've relied on the past 2 years on the back line, absent for the rest of this contest, giving Amobi Okugo in the Bold a man advantage, at least for now. As we've reached our first hydration break here in Austin. 2 goals so far here in the first half, including the first ever score for RGV against the Bold. Want to remind you, don't miss a minute of action here in 2020. Sign up today and get alerts all year long by following your club on ESPN.com. Simply search for the Austin Bold or RGV FC Toros and click the follow button to keep up with the latest news and scores. Plus, get reminders on both the Bold and Toros' next matches. Simply go to ESPN.com now and click follow for your club. Again, we witnessed another beautiful sunset here in the state capitol. The only other match entirely within Group D is that one. Unbeaten San Antonio with another goal from Pirano up on OKC in the greens. Of course, FC Tulsa steps outside of Group D play to challenge St. Louis FC. We had the score flipped early in the broadcast. It is the men in the black and gold up by 1. And of course, that other Texas side that was excluded from Group D getting underway with Colorado Springs and the Switchbacks.
Can we call it a paranazo when Pirano scores for San Antonio? Is that okay?
Por supuesto.
Me gusta. I think this cooling break, Lincoln, it comes at a really good time for Echeverry to talk to his RGV side, calm them down, collect some heads, and get their wits about them and just say, okay, we're still in it. Let's get to halftime, still 1-1. Don't concede any more goals. But this cooling break offers an opportunity to kind of reorganize and to I guess really just try to instill some calm.
Now, limited sample size, but this is the first hydration break in the first half that the Bold will emerge from not trailing since the restart of play. I only say that because Austin has been very successful immediately coming out of hydration breaks. Some will point to it as a timeout, as mentioned in other sports, but Sonny Guadarrama earlier this year and more recently Billy Forbes both came almost immediately out of the breaks and were able to put the Bold on the board.
That's right, and here's another look at the goal. Just a wonderful cross there from Troncoso and Jome. You know, so many players would sky that, would hit it onto the speedway there here at Circuit of the Americas, but Jome, just a really composed finish to get the goal.
Back underway, coming out of the hydration break. 1 goal apiece between RGV and Austin, but it's Austin fielding 11 men right now on that pitch to just 10 for the visiting Toros from Edinburgh. Tomasi brings it over, now sends it to Troncoso. Jorge. And Troncoso unable to save that effort from Bias.
Well, I think we highlighted Garrett McLaughlin in the pregame, and for McLaughlin, it's going to be difficult for him to try to get his first goal tonight. But what he can do is when he does have the ball to offer some hold-up play to try to just give RGV a little bit of some momentum going forward. Maybe use Beckford as well if they can try to combine. But it's going to be really difficult for him to work against those two center backs with numbers down. But it's going to be a really stern test for such a young player like McLaughlin.
Okugo in the midfield these days. Amobi had a little offensive renaissance in Albuquerque last year, a brace against New Mexico United. RGV gets its numbers back. Dioff out to Troncoso, who's been busy tonight. Jorge's going to win a corner kick opportunity for the Bold.
Yeah, you see the Bold, they're focusing on that right channel, that right wing, and using the speed from Troncoso to try to create those chances.
Jorge's played everything but goalkeeper this year. This is a man who's spent much of the downtime this summer during the pandemic with teammate Josue Soto back in California making masks for men and women on the front line. Ball sent in just beyond the reach of Jome. Tomasi thought he was able to settle it, but just gets away far enough for Martinez to swipe it away. And while RGV went up a goal and continued to hold possession with opportunities, now all of a sudden the Bold taking advantage of the numbers game. They've already found the equalizer from Ish Jome. Jome, who becomes the fourth different Bold player to score this year for their 4 goals this year, plus 1 own goal. And the Bold continue to put RGV on their heels now. Well, it's a tale of 2 halves here in the first half. Kleber navigates through 2 defenders. Thought about putting his left boot into it, now will, but it's shut down by Martinez. Kleber dangerous with the left or the right. We saw him last year with a perfect hat trick. Left foot, right foot, and a header. And the Bold again will send Baez out to the far flag.
You know, Lincoln talking about Jome, and when we were speaking with Ryan Thompson yesterday, he mentioned Jome by name, and he said this is a guy who's starting to build confidence, really hitting his stride with this team, and you saw the evidence of that tonight on his goal.
Javi Baez, the pride of Reynosa, Mexico. A couple of years in Liga MX before joining the Bold's inaugural campaign last year. Is this where Austin finds a lead? Into the 18, looking for that final touch. Kleber goes down along with the defender. No foul. Play continues. Austin still with an opportunity.
Boy, that was close right there. That's Kleber from that spot is so good at being able to finish.
And a nice job intervening, plucking this ball away. Your lone goal scorer for RGV tonight, Cabato, whose scoring strike, first of the year, has been equalized by Austin this half.
And that was a chance for RGV right there on the counter, and Cabato just a little too heavy for Beckford. But if Beckford had gotten the ball, he had acres of space. So a chance missed there for RGV to strike on the counter.
Dioff trying to stay onside without the ball. Billy Forbes looking for perhaps a give and go with Tomasi, but forgot to go.
The 1-2 combination doesn't work when the one doesn't go.
Those two are some new teammates. Of course, Billy Forbes played his college ball out in Lubbock for those Chaparrals of Lubbock Christian. Several stints in San Antonio, both in the NASL and 2 tours with SAFC in the USL Championship. Jome again sends one in. Off the crossbar, it goes home for Dioff.
What a great goal there for the Bold. And Dioff, boy, what an enormous confidence boost for that young man. Great run from him, good finish. It's Jome doing the creating, generating the opportunity. And Dioff, that's exactly what you want to see from a young player. Hungry, going to goal, finding the space. Look at him right in between those 2 center backs. Crafty finish for the goal. What a ball from Jome. Great finish from Dioff.
The 20-year-old Antes Dioff from Senegal. last year, League One with Orlando City B. With his first goal with the Bold, they now have 5 goals this year from 5 different players. Tonight's the first night that the Bold are responsible for 2 goals of their own.
And Diop, you can see the smile on his face, and came off the bench in that game a couple weeks ago against Oklahoma City and committed a penalty that ended up going the way for Oklahoma City, ended up being the winning goal. And for him to come back now is great.
Beckford able to cut back inside. Nobody to play with, however. Both goals from Austin tonight have come with a man advantage after Coronado picked up 2 yellows in the opening 25.
And I think it was so good the way he was able to get that goal too, just right off of Adams' back shoulder there, and got his boot on it and into net.
Murphy. And this one will slip away.
But also full credit to Joan. I mean, now Lincoln, we're talking about a guy who's played a huge part in the last 3 goals for the Bold. The own goal against San Antonio last week, of course, his goal on the first one tonight on the equalizer, and then an assist here. So the Bold getting their money's worth from Joan.
Again, Marcelo Serrano has a limited roster right now to choose his starting 11 from, but you just look at if he had everybody healthy that they started the year with, including an addition like Ish Jome, boy, you are sweating before the start of the match just trying to make some decisions in your opening 11, although you're very comfortable with all of a sudden what you have coming off your bench. Of course, again, Marcelo Serrano on the left and his top assistant, Ryan Thompson, on the right. Ryan Thompson does not have to know where his kit is, presumably, though he is listed as a substitute this evening. We'll mention he's listed as the same number as Restrepo tonight instead of his normal 23, and I suspect that's because he doesn't know where his kit is and would simply take the shirt off the back of Diego if needed. Speaking of assistant coaches who also are pulling double duty, Ryan Coulter tonight, his first start for RGV. Briefly with a goal advantage here in the first half. That has seen 2 Bold players open their account tonight on the 2020 campaign. Jome and Dioff, the newcomers. This is a team without its leading scorer from last year, Andre Lima, sitting out the rest of the season back home in the Sunshine State, understandably.
And see right here, RGV trying to press a little bit. They feel like if they can get the ball back in their own half and press and try to win the ball, that's when they can try to strike and attack and to get a goal back and get an equalizer, but unable to do so on that occasion.
Austin also without Chris Tierpak for the rest of the year. His wife expecting their first child. He will opt to stay with those 2 after the birth of the baby. Edson Braffide expecting a child as well, not with the team since the return to play, but does expect to come back. And offside flag is up.
And it's going to be really difficult to try to get a goal back, especially if RGV chooses to play more of a long ball approach. You're talking about going against some experienced defenders, and that's going to be a difficult proposition. So we'll be curious to see if maybe they try to go through the midfield a little bit more on the wings rather than trying to hoof it up to like a Beckford or to a McLaughlin.
McLaughlin hoping just to find an opportunity, a ball accidentally perhaps, that he can take away from the Bold. We'll mention our production crew very familiar with Garrett McLaughlin. Had a chance to cover a lot of his matches up at SMU, including one of his many championships in the American on ESPNU. That was his sophomore, junior, and senior campaigns that the Ponies brought home the title. Last year, SMU climbed into the top 5 at one point even for head coach Hudson. Kevin Hudson always tries to recruit the top player out of Oklahoma each year. They certainly got that with Garrett McLaughlin, former Gatorade Player of the Year for the Sooner State back in 2015 after a couple of state titles. But right now, his Toros with 2+ minutes to go here in this opening half, trailing.
And I think McLaughlin, he's a very promising player. As you mentioned, saw him at SMU and Echeverry. He likes what he's seeing from McLaughlin, makes good runs off the ball, playing off the shoulder of the defender, and just needs to be a little bit more savvy, and that's just going to come with experience.
Well, you have both Ish and Billy pestering the opposing keeper, hoping for a little miscue. Can the Bold find the insurance that eluded RGV this half?
You can see on that last ball right there, McLaughlin wanted the ball. It's imperative for RGV to be able to find a guy like McLaughlin and Beckford in space.
Another look as Murphy got tangled up and taken down by Dioff. Ball back over. A friendly pass back to Coulter. And a foul on Garcia. Bold need to be careful with their fouls, obviously, as well. They've already benefited by being up a man with 2 goals.
And you see right there, that's another thing Echeverry mentioned, speaking with him this week, about the hold-up play of McLaughlin. And there you go, hold-up play, wins a foul, midfield, set-piece opportunity for RGV. And through dead ball situations is one of the key ways how RGV can get back into this game and to pull level.
Garrett, just 22, we mentioned, played the full 4 years at SMU before being taken in the first round by the Dynamo. Number 8 overall pick. Opportunity perhaps here, but Restrepo comes out just to send a little detour. That is a goal kick coming up for Diego Restrepo, who never had to put a paw on.
And I think if we're going to see an RGV goal, I think it's going to come from that type of ball.
No fewer than 5 minutes still to go here in the opening half of stoppage time.
Lincoln also wanted to just give a quick shout out, the Down in the Valley podcast. Those guys do a great job talking about RGV. Really enjoyed listening to them this week to talk and their conversations about this RGV team and what the future holds for the team. In the near future, they're going to be getting some help with Ian Hoffman, a former U.S. Under-20 player, so that'll be welcome.
Billy Forbes over to Tuamasi. RGV still with enough men on that back line to slow things down. A near disaster for the visitors. You know, you're talking about podcasts and, of course, the supporters group for RGV. I mentioned both of these fan bases have such great venues to take in soccer, just not this year, at least for now.
And I know all Matthew Gray and all the Eberle's Army Austin Bold fans, I know they're watching as well, so a salute to them.
Cinco Doce as well. So those supporters groups right now are going to hang on to Copa Tejas, which is not being contested this year with the unbalanced schedules. We mentioned Austin will play San Antonio 4 times. They'll play RGV 3 times. They do not have El Paso on their schedule at all this year. And there just would have been a little bit too much creative math to try to put that trophy on the line.
Plus, that's the Mountain Time Zone, and that's
right. Yes.
I mean, that's
you'll be receiving
so far.
You'll be receiving tweets, but perhaps on an hour delay. Clever. About midway through this first half is when RGV went down a man, but they were up a goal. Obviously, things have changed.
And I think it was big for the Bold to pull a goal back so quickly after the sending off. I think it was maybe 2 or 3 minutes afterwards when Joan got the equalizer.
Forbes able to turn, has teammates. It's Billy pulling the trigger. And a corner kick for Austin.
Yeah, I think Forbes a little frustrated with himself, unable to make a better connection. But you see Austin, they're creating those chances, and it's going to be huge for RGV to stay solid defensively, stay compact.
Now, Austin no longer has that target forward this year with Andre Lima, but a lot of talented foots, I should say feet, perhaps. Baez, back post, nobody home. And a foul on Garcia will put an end to this attack from Austin.
But a quick word on Hoffman, the new player for RGV. Like as I mentioned, very, very talented guy. Was playing in Germany. Now comes over, signed with the Dynamo. Dynamo signing him to RGV, and it's the type of player, he's creative. He can play as a defender or as a midfielder. I think the RGV, they're going to utilize him in different positions to see what works out best for him and for the team. But I think help is going to be coming for this RGV side in the form of Ian Hoffman, who's a very promising young player. Nice
Billy
pass.
Forbes in a foot race.
That's a pretty good ball there from Baez. Adams did nicely to clear it, to fend off Forbes, which is no easy feat.
Billy Forbes, regularly one of the fastest men in this league. Nice job defensively to keep him off that ball. Can the Toros find an equalizer before halftime? A little less than a minute, presumably, still to play here in this first half. Okugo up the middle, Tuamasi. Emma Tuamasi just sends it wide. He'd love to have that one to do again.
I love the ball from Okugo. You talk about just a surgical play. Let's take a look at it again. Here's Okugo, surveys the property, and whew, talk about just taking out a couple defenders with one single pass. And Tuamasi, the finish was a little wide, but a great ball there from Okugo.
Ryan Coulter and his Toros will head back to the locker room. We have reached the midway break in Austin. First of 3 dances this year between the Bold and the Toros. 3 goals to show for it. 2 of them belonging to Ish Jones. Bold, they lead 2-1 here in the state capitol.
Introducing Budweiser Nitro Gold, a first-of-its-kind lager infused with nitro for a taste as smooth as silk. Flip, pour hard, wait for it.
No matter what pops up during your day, Ascension makes it easy to get the care you need. See a doctor at home 24/7 with Ascension Online Care. Visit ascension.org/online care. No matter what pops up during your day, Ascension makes it easy to get the care you need. Anytime, from anywhere, with Ascension Online Care. Visit ascension.org/online care.
Crack open summer with the taste of freedom. Budweiser's red, white, and blue camo cans. Available for a limited time only. In stores now.
RGV able to strike first with the first goal of the year from Cabato, but a short-lived advantage along with a short-lived presence of 11 men for RGV. They went down a man with Coronado exiting. Austin Bold able to claim a lead. Up a man, up a goal at the half. Let's take a look back at some of the memorable moments from their inaugural campaign a year ago.
As Malice overlapping with Guadarrama, wants it himself! What? Sonny Guadarrama just allows Callum Malice to pull Joey Farrell about 1.5 feet to his right. The center back does nothing wrong as he has to account for the overlapping run. But Guadarrama makes him pay.
took it away there. And of course, if you're Austin with where you're at now, dangerous here.
Tierpak and a hat trick. And Tierpak might have stolen the game here in Tulsa with the goal in stoppage time as he beats Steidehar to Steidehar's right. And Tierpak might have just given the Austin Bold 3 points on the road in stunning fashion here at ONEOK.
Hat-trick, the first one was lucky, the second a moment of quality, that one the best of the three, a great hit, nothing Steidehar could do, and that could well, as you say, my friend, be the match winner.
He does it all from box to box.
Another one from distance.
This thing for sure. This goal will be up for USL goal of the week without a shadow. Alongside Taylor, you can see Brofide and Okugo drop back at times.
Clever will take a shot.
Clever holding off the tackler, kept Sandoval on his back.
The USL is proud to bring professional soccer back into our communities and across the ESPN family of networks. Follow your local club and don't miss these exciting matches coming up on ESPN2 or ESPN Deportes.
Dr. George Champus from Northwestern and U.S. Soccer's Chief Medical Officer joins me. Coach, try and describe, as soccer has returned around the country over the past month, the work that you and the doctors at U.S. Soccer and in association with the USL Championship, the work you've put in to make sure everybody remains safe for athletes, staff, referees, and in some cases, fans.
Well, Mike, first, it's great to be with you, and watching the USL getting back on the field is really a special thing. To be perfectly honest with you, it's been a collaboration across, I think, our sport in the United States. I think it's what's been really, while we've seen so many challenges with regards to COVID, one of the really good things is seeing, all of the leagues come together, from USL to CONCACAF to NWSL to MLS to NISA, all of us really banding together as a single sport to find a pathway that is first and foremost healthy.
Austin Bold fell behind early in that opening half. Lincoln Rose Arch Bell back with you. They do find 2 goals as they go up a man. Arch, take a look at the Group D standings. This was coming into today. San Antonio, with their win here last weekend, that officially made it their best start to any of their campaigns for the young club. FC Tulsa again in second place. FC Tulsa right now is up 2-0 on St. Louis. San Antonio is just moments away from picking up another 3 points, so they are going to remain in the driver's seat. Let's look at what I'm talking about here. SAFC up 3-0, closing that one out against Oklahoma City Energy. FC Tulsa found insurance. They're closing in on another 3 points. So the Bold and RGV tonight, we're hoping to leapfrog perhaps into the top 2, but right now they're just trying to stay in the hunt. None of the rest of those matches affect the standings in Group D, but obviously El Paso is always a team of interest here in the Lone Star State, and Phoenix Rising last year gets underway a little bit later on tonight, the class of the Western Conference a year ago.
Yeah, so you see with San Antonio just really setting the pace, but a great opportunity for the Bold to get back into it tonight with 3 points.
Well, the Bold able to get some players back. They're still missing a few more critical pieces that would give them the full depth in what they will need in terms of a healthy roster in this short marathon, if that makes sense, here for the remainder of this USL Championship season. You see they desperately need the 3 points here tonight at home, where they have seen 6 points slip away in their last 2 outings. They're about to go on the road for a 5-match tour. It is a short but compact season here in Group D the rest of the way, where only the top 2 teams in the group will go on to the Western Conference playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, huge psychological boost if they can hold on, get the 3 points here tonight before that 5-game road trip.
Ish Joam with his first goal leveled this one apiece, and the youngster Ates Diop with his first goal for the Austin Bold as well gives them the lead. Austin, RGV, just about ready to go for the second half when you rejoin us in the state capitol.
Introducing Budweiser Nitro Gold. A first-of-its-kind lager, infused with nitro for a taste as smooth as silk. Flip, pour hard, wait for it.
No matter what pops up during your day, Ascension makes it easy to get the care you need. See a doctor at home 24/7 with Ascension Online Care. Visit ascension.org/online care. No matter what pops up during your day, Ascension makes it easy to get the care you need. Anytime, from anywhere, with Ascension Online Care. Visit ascension.org/online care.
Crack open summer with the taste of freedom. Budweiser's red, white, and blue camo cans. Available for a limited time only. In stores now.
Three balls find their way into the back of the net. The first one went home for the Toros, but the Austin Bold bounced back again, up a man for each of their two goals. As we got underway, Diego Restrepo under attack early.
Yeah, the RGV came out very strong, very aggressive, and first with a shot that Restrepo was able to save, but here's the goal right here. And just a really nice finish into net. Composed. RGV was flying in the first several minutes.
Kimbo Cabana with his first goal of the year. That would be a trend. Troncoso able to dial up his new teammate is Jome.
Jome, fantastic finish with the volley after the sending off. Just the lift that the Bold needed at 1-1, and see the opportunity created there by Troncoso. And then this time Jome, he goes from being goal scorer to playmaker with the cross, and Diouf, nice finish off the back shoulder of Adams there, boot to ball to net.
Will the first career goal for Antes Diouf prove to be his first career game winner with the Austin Bowl? Ish Jome obviously already paying a lot of dividends, set up an own goal last week for a comeback effort. Tonight, dials up a teammate and finishes as well on his own. You take a look at the numbers. A lot of those shots for the Bold came after Coronado was sent off. What else stands out to you?
Well, and certainly possession, and that possession number is probably going to go up even more. Could see around 75%, maybe even close to 80 by the end of the match. So it's really going to be up to RGV to come out defensively very solid, very compact in the second half. Look for those opportunities in transition.
The final scores of their last two matches haven't been pretty for the Austin Bold, but they haven't necessarily told the tale of how close the Bold had been to picking up wins or at least points at home. Well, talking about home, we're not going to be talking about home for a while. They are now headed for a road swing down the road to San Antonio, then yo-yoing back and forth across the Red River, Tulsa down to the Rio Grande to meet RGV for the second of their three meetings. And then outside of Group D, for one of two occasions, they'll also see Sporting KC once this year, Colorado Springs, and then hop over to OKC as well.
Yeah, and I think the most important thing, Lincoln, not only is it 5 straight road games, but look at the dates of those games. We're talking every 3-4 days. Yeah. Not a lot of rest, so legs are going to get tested. Squad depth already a problem for the Bold, so it's very much a key stretch here for the Bold to see if they can get as many points as possible from those 5 road visits.
This is what is coming up for Coach Echeverry and his men from the Valley. Of course, all these contests will be back and forth between Edinburgh and on the road. First, they head up across the Red River to Oklahoma City, up to Taft. Then they will host the Bold, host San Antonio, That's already going to be their third meeting with the red and black of SAFC, then back up FC Tulsa, and then yet their fourth matchup before even the second week of September against their South Texas rivals.
Yeah, and all those games with San Antonio, they've all been super close, either a draw or just a one-goal loss. So I wouldn't expect anything different in the matches to come.
Toros with a lead for the first quarter of this matchup. Right now trailing. Take a look. Well, again, New Mexico United, a lot of high expectations last year. Bold got the better of them in the season opener this year, but they've been undefeated ever since, including Wehan with a score in every one of their matches since then. And then, of course, you take a look at some of the headlines that affect Group D. Oklahoma City and SAFC have both already more draws than any other. Between them, always a tight contest. And then, of course, Tacoma, a fun one to follow as well with Diaz, their international from Puerto Rico.
And with World Cup qualifying and CONCACAF Nations League all around the corner, that's good news for Puerto Rico. Wehan, saw him plenty here last year in Austin with New Mexico United. Chris Wehan, really good player in the midfield for New Mexico.
We have a good one here in Austin as both teams emerging from the locker room. That young man already with a professional goal under his belt in the first half. Tez Dioff, your difference right now as the Bold will begin the second half with the traditional 11 men on the pitch, RGV with just 10.
And what a great, I mean, you see the confidence boost, you see the improvement already from Dioff. Like we were talking about Oklahoma City, that game caused the penalty, and since then he started last week, was so much better, he improved, and then you see the fruits of his labor bearing fruit here tonight with a goal. So just a fantastic sign for Marcelo Serrano. You talk about development, improvement of a player. There's an example right there.
Coach Echeverry will go to his bench for the first time. Jonathan Jimenez will come on for his third appearance this year in place of the lone goal scorer, Kimbo Kibato. So Jimenez, 22-year-old out of Florida, who actually played for Coach Echeverry back at Seton Hall in their time as Pirates together. He's your first personnel change for either team.
Yeah, looks like RGV kind of a little bit more of like a 3-4-2-ish out there to start. We're curious to see how things continue to evolve and change during this half. But you know, the most important thing for RGV is to know that they're only down a goal. And so they're definitely still in this. It's going to take some work. They're going to have to be extremely opportunistic, of course, but still down a goal. They can still get a result, and it would be a huge lift for such a young side.
In addition, Ish Jome has been to the Austin Bold. You looked at the men that were returning this year for the Bold. I don't think you necessarily saw a need for Jome. And yet all of a sudden, he's one of your brightest shining stars. That ball goes screaming across the face of goal, occupied by Restrepo, but no need to intervene.
Well, and there you go right there, Lincoln. That was probably the best look that they've had at goal, the deepest they've gotten that goal since the sending off. And so those are the opportunities that they're going to have to try to carve out here in this half.
How long will RGV have to wait for their second chance? Arch, you mentioned the obvious, and that is how many more matches just in the month of August alone the Bold have coming up. This is already one of your oldest teams age-wise in the USL Championship, and if they had all of their depth, perhaps no problem, they're built as well as anybody. But even as mature as they can play in these matches, mindful of saving a little bit of energy, it is going to be a battle for points, especially on the road coming up.
Yeah, it's going to be a challenge, and boy, you see right there, Joe, a heavy knock on McLaughlin there. McLaughlin hobbling a little bit, appears to be okay, just a little bit of a knock. I think he'll be all right, but yeah, those legs are going to be tested. You talk about the travel and everything, and maybe arriving the day of the game or the night before after a long day of travel. So all of those things add up, and but it would be really great. Those road trips are going to be a lot easier to do if you can start it off with 3 points under your belt in your last game.
Austin still nailing down some of its logistics for that road swing, making sure they always have an appropriate place to train before the match day.
And then another thing, you're talking about going you're playing on a grass surface and then maybe an artificial turf surface, heading up to Colorado, and so it'll be a little bit cooler, but there is altitude, so many different factors to take into account.
Castellanos calm under pressure from Austin, as Robert will send this one forward. Right now, RGV with multiple first-round selections from this year's MLS Super Draft. We mentioned Garrett McLaughlin up top, and Jimenez, who comes in as your first sub for Coach Echeverry, was your 26th overall selection in the first round from Chicago before finding his way to the Valley.
Yeah, and the MLS Super Draft, maybe not as relevant as it was, say, 10, 15 years ago for finding players. You see now with so many academies and everything, players able to come through the ranks, both MLS academies and USL academies. So, but there are still good finds that can be had in the MLS Super Draft, and certainly the Dynamo are hoping that the likes of McLaughlin and Jimenez can be just that.
Demasi playing with Forbes, sends this one into space. But RGV has done a fairly nice job defending Billy Forbes so far.
Yeah, they've done a good job. Castellanos and Adams on the whole have done a good job on Forbes. It's just they've just had their hands full with the wingers, with Troncoso and Joan. That's where the danger has been created.
Question is, will Billy continue to put the pressure on them if they continue to have an answer in the early minutes of this second half? You note, at least he's able to take some of their eyes off of his teammates. Here's Diego Restrepo, the former national champion at UVA. Split his time growing up between Venezuela and Colombia.
Well, certainly Forbes is just an absolute workhorse, and had a chance to visit with his international teammate, Jeff Francois of the Turks and Caicos Islands national team. And it's a guy like Billy, when they get together, when the Turks and Caicos Islands national team gets together, I mean, it is basically Billy Forbes commands the locker room immediately. He raises everyone's level, and he does that not only for his national team, but definitely for a club side as well.
RGV has seen a lot of Diego Restrepo, 2 years in San Antonio before joining Austin last year. This will be a friendly hop to the veteran who had 12 shutouts en route to being your goalkeeper of the year in this league a few years back with San Antonio. A shutout streak of over 670 minutes that stretched from late April to mid-June with his former club.
Watching Joan play, he's just got that long frame, and it's so hard to play against. It's probably very maddening to play against just a tall, strong player like that. Kind of reminds you of an Emmanuel Adebayor in that sense. Just, you know, very skilled, very smart, very tall, lengthy.
Baez out to Troncoso. And Jorge able to salvage a set piece here for Javi Baez in the Bold. Again, Jorge tonight playing on the back line. We've seen him up top and in the midfield. He's a Swiss Army knife. Kleber sends one in, just looking for a miscue from RGV. Last year, Troncoso, after being injured early, even was able to fit in on the bench as an assistant coach unofficially for Marcelo Serrano.
Yeah, and that was such an unlucky occurrence for Troncoso. Just came in the first minutes of his very first start for the Bold. He'd come in off the bench previously in a couple other matches, but it was his first start, and then he has that serious injury, and it's great to see him playing again. It's such an important player for this Bold team, and you saw it tonight just on that first goal, the way he was able to serve up that assist to Joan.
Toros are just one opportunity away from tying this one up despite being down a man. Out wide to Carter Manley, former Duke Blue Devil. Mentioned had a cup of coffee in Major League Soccer with Minnesota United. Ryan Coulter gets his first start with RGV tonight in goal, after Paul Blanchette had been the only man to log minutes back in frame.
I really like what I'm seeing from RGV in the second half, though, so far. I think they've been able to penetrate a little bit more into the Bold half, using those channels, using those wings to try to create those chances, to try to find an opportunity to at least test Restrepo. So we're seeing more offensive impetus here from RGV.
Okugo Former Demon Deacon lays it off to Kleber. Gladiator trying to send it right back to the youngster, but unable to connect that time. In transition opportunity for RGV. Austin gets numbers back, but still perhaps a shot coming. And I say that, forgive me, Fabian Garcia, for questioning his one-on-one capabilities. It's a brilliant stump.
Yeah, RGV wanted a foul, but I think that was pretty clean there from Garcia. And you saw a little bit of McLaughlin was looking for some space on that break, and he just ran right into Taylor. Taylor, just a veteran move, just putting a little bit of a body on him to stop that momentum, and it stops the counterattack.
Jermaine Taylor on that back line, 6 years in MLS, including with the Houston Dynamo. As this will stay with the Bold.
And one thing I'm noticing, Lincoln, is when you see Kleber get that ball, especially in the midfield, I mean, there's just a sea of orange when he tries to turn around, when he tries to play a through ball. So they're making it difficult for him to try to create and to find his teammates.
I mean, you look, this is such a creative midfield. So much capability for Austin. Ball laid out perfectly. One more pass, but ultimately opportunity shut down thanks to the efforts of Kyle Adams on loan from the Houston Dynamo, the Kiwi. But Austin Bold still come knocking. Jome, a goal and assist tonight. A little overlapping run with Billy. Back inside to Ish. Sends one through, back post, just could not clean things up. As Javi Baez was your candidate to become the 6th player for the Bold to pick up a goal this year.
Oh, and there you go. There's Jome right there doing what Jome does. Let's take a look on the replay right here. Forbes initially looks like the ball's going to be too heavy, but with that long leg, Jome is able to get the ball across, and you know, the run is just a little bit late to the back post to find it.
Corner kick awarded to Austin. An opportunity not fruitful. Still sitting on just a lone goal advantage. The goal kick coming up for Ryan Coulter.
I mean, that ball was just right there, ready to be tapped in at the back post. But again, created by Jome. Just stuck that boot in there, and he was able to get the ball across.
No room for error for this back line of RGV, down a man. Coronado sent off in the first 24 minutes, a pair of yellows. At the time, a 1-goal lead for the visitors from the Valley. And a numbers game adds up for the Bold.
Yeah, that's frustrating for McLaughlin. He was finally able to get on the end of a long ball, but there's 2 defenders right there just to swarm him and dispossess.
Well, don't miss a minute of action this 2020 campaign. Again, be sure to follow each of these clubs on ESPN.com, and don't forget to be able to follow the USL Championship nationally, including when Las Vegas takes center stage August 25th. The Lights take on Orange County SC on ESPN Deportes. Looking to maintain the pace set in Group B. Both Las Vegas Lights FC, Orange County SC face a must-win on the national stage. Don't miss the drama again. That's August 25th, 10 p.m. on ESPN Deportes. Tonight, a little tussle in Texas. Austin Bold, RGV Toros. Some great venues to cheer on the local teams down in Edinburgh. You've got Ogden Arena, home of the Rio Grande Valley Vipers of the NBA G League. Similar joint ownership in the hybrid ownership as we see between RGV Toros and the Houston Dynamo. And is it appropriate tonight to wish Whataburger happy birthday as these 2 Texas teams collide? Just 70 years young.
You keep them in business.
Yeah. Both in Edinburgh. Had some pretty good experience down there. As as well as here in the state capitol. Whataburger might have a favor based on the colors of the kits here. And a yellow awarded to Diego Restrepo for the delay. And that's going to buy time for a substitution for Restrepo's Bold. Troncoso, an eventful first half comes on for regular starter Sion McFarland. Sion was Ish Joan before Ish Joan was Ish Joan.
McFarland, just another talented fullback that they can bring in. Does a good job on those overlapping runs. Great service. So an embarrassment of riches there for Serrano at the fullback position.
There's about to be a synchronized track meet up and down each touchline, courtesy of your two outside defenders. Joan on the near side. McFarland will be on the far side. And Coulter able to avoid giving up a corner kick here.
Great shift from Troncoso, it has to be said. Just a jack of all trades. He can play up top, midfield, wing back, fullback, whatever you want to call it. It's nice for Serrano where he can put Troncoso anywhere on the field. And Troncoso knows where he needs to be, knows how to play on his line.
McFarland in his first minutes on the pitch, splits defenders into the 18, sends one along the blades of grass before it's deflected over the crossbar. Corner kick for the Bold. McFarland already making his mark.
Yeah, you see it right there. McFarland, he's not afraid to go 1v1. He can beat a defender, creates that chance.
Sion last year, all those starts on the back line still accounted for 12 assists.
And then he split those two defenders, and Castellanos just able to almost kind of top spin it over the crossbar. And I think just a little bit there on the defending, maybe some tired legs there from RGV, just lacking a little bit of a lapse there in concentration, allowing McFarland to get through.
Coach Echeverry will make another change now. Garrett McLaughlin comes off. And the new man in his place, Juan Carlos Obregon. His seventh appearance, a couple of starts this year for the 22-year-old out of Liga MX, second year with RGV. Diego Restrepo's well off his line. You might want to gamble, send one over the top, though that opportunity now lost. Bold get numbers back. Okugo intervenes and buys time.
Boy, Okugo, what an intervention right there. That saved the goal because it was all right there for RGV with the 2v1 break. They're unable to capitalize. Okugo with some great defending. Obregon was ready to finish it off.
When RGV had that ball, Diego Restrepo was 35 yards or more off his line, sprinting back. And now the speed of play will be dialed down for a moment.
And you wonder maybe if Beckford, perhaps maybe if it's 11v11, maybe he takes a crack at it and decides to do it. But knowing that a man down, maybe he decides to kind of wait because he wants to be able to get a chance perhaps with Obregon on that 2v1. But in any case, the chance is spoiled thanks to some very good defending there from Okugo.
A little over an hour complete in this Texas rivalry. These were the last two teams contending for the inaugural Copa Tejas last year. With the Bold able to secure it last time they met on this pitch. Ball sent in. That was your chance for RGV in the 62nd minute.
Boy, they are getting some looks here. They're a man down, but playing with a lot of heart at RGV, and just a fantastic ball whipped in there by Manley. And that's all you could ask for, the little deflection. And I think if you have Obregon or perhaps Castellanos making that run at the far post and crashing the goal, they might have gotten a foot on it and put it in.
RGV seeing more opportunities here in the second half than they did in the first half after the two yellows to Coronado. And RGV certainly was the team that had the advantage and opportunities for the first 20-plus minutes of this match, including a one-goal lead along the way. Marcelo Serrano will make a personnel change at the next stoppage in play. Will they still have a lead intact? At the moment, yes.
Well, and the story for the Bold in their last couple of home games is they've conceded late. They've conceded 2 goals late to Oklahoma City and then 2 goals late to San Antonio. So RGV looking to to continue that script, but Bold trying to hold on to a lead. In those other games, those games were tied when those late goals were conceded by the Bold. In this case, they're up, so a different dynamic, but still on a knife's edge here in Austin.
Kleber with McFarland out wide. Sion with his dance partner. McFarland finally slips one through, looking for Billy, but unable to connect.
You see right there, again, Forbes just surrounded there by both Adams and Castellanos. They've done a really good job clamping down on him tonight.
Omar Sis will be the next man on for his former high school teammate Ates Dioff, who found his first goal tonight in a Bold uniform. So Omar, the 18-year-old out of Montverde Academy, comes on for the 20-year-old goal scorer from Montverde. Assists, briefly a touch there. Jome, a goal and assist already tonight. And Taylor will win it back over to Garcia. Well, we know San Antonio is still the class of Group D, still unbeaten the entirety of this 2020 campaign. Jome, back post, gets all the way out to Baez. What does Javi have in mind?
It's good here from the Bold to keep possession. They don't have to force anything. They're the team that's up 2-1, so no need to force anything. If it's not there, just bring it back out, circulate the ball again.
Forbes trying to sneak one through to Tomasi, who makes his return tonight. And here are the fresh legs of Obregon. Matched up with Okugo, help from Taylor. Obregon denied, but will win a corner kick for RGV. Rare set piece opportunity for the visiting Sun.
Well, and I think that's all you can really ask for RGV is those set piece opportunities. That's where you can find the equalizer. Obregon does a nice job, wins the corner. So now an opportunity to try to draw level.
Restrepo organizes his troops. It's Isidro Martinez will handle this opportunity. 1 assist this year, had 8 of them last year. Again, just about an everyday starter, the 23-year-old out of Brownsville. Final moments of the 66th minute, down a goal. Forbes into Amasi, off to the races. Billy Forbes up the middle. Kleber will come into the picture as well. They find the Gladiator. Kleber right into a pair. Ball slipped back in from Sis. It'll go wide for a corner kick.
That's a really good counter there from the Austin Bold. It's exactly how they wanted to get it set up. Tomasi finds Kleber. Kleber, the cut back to his right. Kleber wanted the handball, not coming. Let's take another look here. Here's the shot from Kleber. Did it strike the hand? I didn't think it did. No. Maybe the top part of the thigh there from Manley.
Even if it was the forearm, it was tucked in. Corner kick for Baez.
But that's where the Bold, that's where they can find a third goal, because RGV, there's going to be space there in the back in which to operate, especially on a counter.
What does Javi Baez have in mind? Jome from 25. Ish Jome, a classic from distance.
What a goal. What a goal, Lincoln. Jome, the man of the hour, left-footed bullet into net.
Oh, it's music to the ears of the Bold here in the live music capital of the world. Ish Jome, a brace tonight.
Yeah, at this rate, Jome is taking home man of the match honors. Well deserved. What a great finish. Just takes it on his left foot. Let's take another look at it right here. The corner, it bounces right to him. A look. And Lincoln, last week we saw Christian Pirano fire a rocket into net for San Antonio. And this one, Boy, there's plenty of class on that strike as well. That one was just as good, if not better. And Jome, 2 goals and an assist on the night.
Involved on all 3 goals. It's 3 straight goals for Austin now after falling behind. And again, we'll remind you, all 3 goals have come with a man advantage.
And we're talking about this, it was a moment when RGV were kind of starting to find themselves. They were starting to get deep into the bold half. Had a couple of balls across that maybe they could have gotten something out of. Set piece opportunity on a corner kick, but then that right there, that is just a killer for RGV, that 3rd goal for Austin.
And for the first time tonight, a team has insurance. That team, the home side.
And this is the Austin Bold that we saw here at Circuit of the Americas so often last year. Just pouring goals in, solid defensively, wearing down teams in the second half.
But they're doing it without names like Lima and Tierpak, and in the past couple of matches, no Guadarrama.
And then, you know, Marcelo Serrano, when we spoke with him last week, he said he needed guys to step up, and pretty safe to say that Jome has stepped up in a huge way the last 2 weeks.
Well, all of a sudden, he's your leading goal scorer for the Austin Bold this year with 2. Right now, Antez Dioff on the bench for the rest of the night, but at the moment responsible for the game winner. Unless RGV can pull one back.
Good ball.
Where will Tuamasi go with this? Up 3-1. A little bit of breathing room for Diego Restrepo back in goal now for Austin. Well, fans, you can follow the Austin Bold and the RGVFC Toros, the rest of the USL Championship, all season long on ESPN Plus right here. Home to the USL, MLS, UFC, and more. Join the nearly 8 million sports fans who have already discovered ESPN Plus and watch the championship live every week. Sign up today at ESPNplus.com. Ball sent through. As again, Garcia able to get to that ball before Restrepo has to intervene. And Garcia is not going to stay up for long.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's an actual injury or maybe just a cramp. Looks like it's just a cramp. It's something that he just needs to stretch out. As it looks like RGV is going to be making another change. Garcia appears to be okay, which is good news.
Yeah, Gerson Echeverry is going to bring on Luca Purpa, who's been a starter most of the minutes this year. Also taken in the MLS Super Draft this year, 2nd round selection for the Dynamo in Houston. So Luca comes on, former Marquette star in the Big East, pride of Milwaukee, getting to play college ball in his home state up there with Marquette. As he comes on for Cavato, still the only goal scorer tonight for RGV.
And just a note on Billy Forbes, Lincoln. So the Castellanos and Adams, they've just kept those 2 center backs so busy tonight. And you know, while Forbes maybe hasn't gotten the touches that he's wanted, the looks that he's wanted, I think it's just his work rate and going against that RGV defense has really helped out the Bold in this attack. Just right there, for example.
Baez trying to slip one through to Tuamasi. And the ball continues to bounce the way for the Bold more often than not.
And you can see Forbes, you know, his work rate going against Adams, and then a second ball chance is there for Baez. And those are just little things, you know, they don't show up on the score sheet, but if you can have a forward like that who just works so hard against those center backs and creates chances for other teams.
Flag is up against the Bold, but again, a moment ago, Robert Castellanos had a fantastic stop, but the ball went right back to Javi Baez, so there was no time to catch your breath, let alone celebrate the effort from Castellanos. But finally, the flag intervenes. And back over to the visitors. Able to turn and head upfield here with Nunes. Tyverson Nunes off the bench tonight, the 26-year-old from Brazil. One of the handful of goal scorers this year for RGV.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see Lincoln once, you know, a guy like Hoffman gets to RGV and is able to start playing once everything, all the paperwork is settled and everything, and he can start playing, how he can impact this team.
RGV slips one through. Restrepo knocks it down. That will be a save for Diego Restrepo. It was on target, but he keeps it a 2-goal lead for now.
Because I think a guy, if you can introduce a guy like Hoffman, and whether he's playing a defender position, defensive position, midfielder, just a tricky player. Let's taking a look at the shot there. Restrepo had to get low to make the save. So a good look there for RGV. But you could tell there's definitely some good talent there, good young talent. And just with more seasoning and more experience, it could really become something quite special.
Ish Jome, a beauty to Billy Forbes, who goes just wide.
Great chance there for the Bold. Jome with the service, and Forbes. Forbes really wants to get on the score sheet tonight after getting that goal last week. And Jome has just been inch perfect all night tonight. Look at this ball. Just weighted perfectly. Forbes right in between the two center backs, just unable to connect.
And again, Sion McFarland coming on in the second half, more than capable of similar service off that back line. Clever looking for Billy. Forbes will still find it. Jamasi through to Forbes. And Billy, one step too many, sends it right back into the mixer. See how patient Austin is, as Jome will win this ball for the Bold.
Well, you see, Lincoln, you see the Bold are really starting to enjoy their soccer right now. A lot of, combining and playing quickly, one-touch, two-touch type stuff. Jamasi, Forbes, Jome, linking up is really, really nicely done here from Austin.
Lone goal this half belongs to the Austin Bold, completing the brace for Ishmael Jome, 2 goals and an assist tonight. Austin, ever since about the 24th minute, has been playing up a man against RGV. And that's the difference between the Toros being up a goal to now trailing 3-1. And we have our final hydration break, presumably, of this match. As, again, Marcelo Serrano just turned 40 this year. Mentioned he's not just the head coach of the Bold in their second year, also head coach duties with the U.S. Virgin Islands since back in 2017.
Not a bad place to go on the international break.
Austin and the U.S. Virgin Islands, not bad places to hang your cap.
No, not bad at all. And again, it's all part of the initiative from CONCACAF with the Nations League. So guys like Billy Forbes and Turks and Caicos, they can get regular games. So in addition to World Cup qualifying, you can get games like the Nations League, so U.S. Virgin Islands. And then there's so many players from the Caribbean in the USL Championship. And so it's nice to see those players who are from those small Caribbean nations, the experience they get in USL Championship, being able to transmit that to their international teammates. It's nice to see.
Take a look, a busy Saturday night, of course, as we become accustomed to. San Antonio, 13 points now in Group D with the shutout tonight. Pirano, the game winner, 2 more insurance goals as well for SAFC. FC Tulsa is going to remain in second place right now. They get the 2-0 victory outside of league play against St. Louis. Right now, El Paso up 2-0 on Colorado Springs. As, well, tonight, it's a former switchback in Ish Jome who has shined bright with his new team.
That's right, Jome, so impressive tonight, 2 goals. Let's take a look at the first goal, the service from Troncoso. Jome with the volley into net. Again, that was a huge goal for the Bold. That was the equalizer, 1-1. Here he is with the service. Dioff getting his first professional goal. And then this was a cross here from Jome that almost resulted in another goal. Baez just a little late in getting there, but here's the quality, world-class strike, left footer.
And with one missing orange kit on the pitch, somebody's got to be left unmarked, and that time it was Ish Jome.
Yeah, Jome, and I was a little bit surprised. I noticed on an earlier corner kick how he wasn't. I figured he would be in the mixer there trying to look for a header, but instead of being a little bit out. But maybe that's why you kind of keep him out, Lincoln, at the top of the area, so he can stroke it in like that.
Lincoln Rose, along with Arch Bell, we mentioned we are on site tonight, along with our crew. And certainly appreciate all the efforts of our teammates as Coulter able to secure that one. Thanks to Carl, Dustin, Martin, Nathan, and the rest of the crew here on site. Everybody trying to be as responsible as possible during these unique times in which fans are relegated to watching from home. A few members of the media allowed into the stands.
Did they let Chris Bills in tonight from the Austin American Statesman? Was he allowed in?
I think there was a hashtag movement to get him back in.
I see.
From some of his mom's burner accounts, at least. Here's Ima Tuamasi. Tuamasi outside the 18. Ball sent in. Again, nearest man would have been clever to put the punctuation on that. Ball still in play. Chris Bills has been a busy guy in a soccer-hungry city here in Austin. Obviously, USL Championship, an emerging MLS franchise, and whenever you have the World Cup, always the top ratings, men and women, right here in Austin.
Well, it's an exciting time in the city for sure. And I absolutely love the fact that you have a team like the Austin Bold, how they've incorporated young players, young local players into this team.
Including a couple of signings yesterday. Okugo just won. Looking for his first goals since he double dipped against New Mexico United last year.
That was a heck of a rip there. Just wide, but a really nice effort.
Again, Amobi's been showing off his versatility playing in the midfield these past couple of matches. Well, you talked about it, the USL's elite pre-professional platform, the USL Academy, which allows clubs across the USL to build a pathway to pro soccer by bringing together top local youth talent. In following the success of that first Academy Cup, clubs now are able to apply to participate in the USL Academy League, kicking off in the spring of 2021. See a card here for Tuamasi. Want to remind fans, for more information, you can visit usl-academy.com or search the hashtag USL Academy on social media.
And what a thrill for the two goalkeepers signed yesterday by the Bold. Here's another look at the foul, and yeah, Tuamasi's going to get a card for that. But Zachary Koss and Edward Alonzi, I mean, just they're not going to see any action tonight, but just, you know, being in the building and getting a chance to be around this group of professionals is just a great opportunity for those young men.
Well, just think, not only is there a jam-packed schedule coming up end of August, start of September, but all these teams are going to start seeing the card count also accumulating, let alone various bruises along the way. And maybe one of those academy goalkeepers finds themselves as a striker. Tell their friends they played with Kleber. Diego Restrepo back in his frame, 2-goal lead to protect. Lone goal for RGV came early in that first half.
So the key here for the Bold is just, you don't want to go to sleep. You don't want to think it's done and dusted. You still have, if you include stoppage time, 10+ minutes. So the last thing Austin needs to have happen is for RGV to pull a goal back. All of a sudden you're talking about momentum, then looking for an equalizer. So it's so crucially important here for the Bold to keep their defensive shape. Good communication there in the back to make sure that RGV doesn't sneak a goal in.
Again, the rookie Perpa sends this one in. Oh, Amobi Okugo, a little bit of good fortune. Standing in the right place at the right time to shut that one down.
Yeah, Castellanos was there.
Baez McFarland, flag stays down. Numbers game for Austin. Tuamasi on the money to McFarland. Sion goes back post, looking for Billy. But for now, simply a corner kick and a chance to regroup for RGV.
Yeah, just not enough from McFarland on that ball for Forbes. Maybe with a little bit more zip on him, he could have found him, but a corner kick for Austin. There it is. There's another look. Yeah, Tuamasi, what a great ball into McFarland. McFarland tries to go across, and you see it right there. That was able to, if he maybe he's able to cut it back just a little bit more and with a little bit more pace on it, he could have found Forbes.
Marcelo Serrano is now going to officially have two changes. Toma Daviardi will come in for Kleber And you see one of the many local products benefiting from the presence of the Austin Bold. Beto Avila with his second appearance this year. Played 13 minutes the other night, 3 appearances last year. Out of the Bold Academy, previous Lone Star man in his own right. His confidence really growing in this second year for the 19-year-old Avila. Again, Daviardi coming on his second straight year with the Bold. So more fresh legs for Austin, up by 2. What has Ish Jome done lately? Avila, half the age of some of his teammates. And this will stay with the Bold.
Yeah, so Avila, talking about it, I believe Julian Gaines last season for Austin. Of course, Sonny Guadarrama and Chris Tierpack are Austin products. So again, it feeds into the idea that the Bold, they are looking to bring in local Austin players into this team, and they bring them in, and not only are you in a good training environment, but you're going to get some playing time as well.
We look forward to having Nate Adamalakin soon. Nice job shutting down Billy.
There. Very good defender.
Great effort. Another great stop by, again, the captain, Robert Castellanos.
Yeah, Castellanos, and that's a tough one right there, because you have to be 100% certain, because anything a little extra or extra rash, and it might result in a penalty. So really good defending there from Castellanos. Again, who's had a good night. He's had a really good season. So credit to him.
It's his 3rd year with RGV on that back line. Just 21. Wrapping up with the 85th minute. Again, first of 3 meetings here in Group D between Austin and RGV. They will meet again in the Valley on August 22nd and again down at HEB Park on September 12th. The lone meeting here in the state capitol.
Yeah, well, Lincoln, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the assistant coach for RGV, Bobby Murphy, who, an Austin guy who was with Austin Aztecs for a number of years and different assistant coaching capacities and everything. It's great to see him back in the capital city and on the RGV coaching staff, and certainly somebody I think everybody in the city really hopes can get a head coaching job someday.
Obregon has Restrepo on notice. Again, it's Garcia essentially playing the role of the same stopper that we've seen out of Robert Castellanos for RGV on the other side. Garcia has thwarted many highlight opportunities for the Toros tonight. And his season had already been ended at this point a year ago.
Yeah, credit to Garcia. Garcia, who struggled last week, he had an error that led to the first San Antonio goal, so I think he's responded really nicely here tonight.
And Taylor, the veteran, able to win this ball back for the Bold. Of course, RGV will head back tonight. 5-hour trip back down to South Texas. Beto Avila, again with soccer last year, returning to Austin for the first time since 2015. Certainly the fans benefited, but so did the youth in the area. It's a city that has produced a lot of talent, both internationally as well as all levels of the soccer pyramid here in the United States. You mentioned Julian Gaines last year along with Beto Avila.
I think at this point you could put together a starting 11 of Austin players and it'd be pretty impressive. You know, Kyrie Shelton, of course, made his Bundesliga debut last season. Kakuta Mane, who's been in MLS now for a while. A lot of Austin products.
Aviardi will send it in to Baez. Javi still on his feet. Sending one in, flicked header. Just over the crossbar from Beto.
And Lincoln, the thing is, you know, there are some teams out there who maybe they don't give those opportunities to those young players for whatever reason, but it's nice that Austin Bold in the USL Championship, that yes, there are those opportunities do exist. And you see with some of the other USL Championship teams like Jose Gallegos down in San Antonio. So it's the American soccer only stands to benefit by playing the kids. And so especially here in Austin, playing the local kids is a great sign.
Iverson Nunez not wanting to hear that this is Austin's ball.
Players can get very, very possessive when it comes to the ball.
Head coach Gerson Echeverry letting we know they have more matches to come. Aviardi off the bench tonight, and a yellow a few moments later for Nunez.
Yeah, and that's a frustration right there for Nunez to get the card. And I think, yes, it's going to be what it looks like, unless RGV can pull back a couple late goals here. It looks like they're headed toward another defeat, but I think, you know, some lessons have been learned. I think you really, some of the positives, they were playing so well in the early going, a good aggressive start. Here's another look at the foul, and yeah, I mean, just you're gonna get that every single time. That's a yellow every single time, tackling like that from behind. But there are some positives to take here for RGV that they can use in the upcoming weeks, and I do think Echeverry is doing a good job with this team, and those wins are going to come.
Well, when both teams were full strength, RGV led 1-0. But after the discrepancy of a man being sent off for RGV, Austin found their 3 goals, including insurance here in the second half. And that numbers game adds up for Austin against Obregon there. Last time these two teams met, it was on this field again in the de facto championship for Copa Tejas, the way it played out. That was a September clash. The icing on the cake was the 3rd goal, 3-0 the final. That goal came from Promise Isaac. And little did we know it would be the last chance for his teammates to celebrate with him. But it's one of the many great memories from Copa Tejas, seeing Promise able to finish off of a set piece. Again, no fewer than 5 minutes of stoppage time. RGV would love a little more than that. Austin would like for our man Allen to speed up the clock a little.
Well, I think psychologically this is going to be just a huge boost for the Bold to be able to go into that 5-match road trip with a win. They'd love to be able to get another goal. Goals just, they feed confidence for players. More goals, the better. But you know, they got that win way back when in March. March was Lincoln, if you think about it, it was like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But at least it feels that way, certainly. But they got that initial win, and there was, you know, building up that momentum. But now after the restart, after 2 losses, getting a win here is just huge.
Aviardi back to Forbes. Flag stays down. Billy Forbes has his 2nd goal of the 2020 campaign. All of the RGV defenders standing around trying to play the role of AR, and Billy never stumped.
Well, Billy Forbes has worked all night long against those 2 center backs, trying to get his chances, and he finally gets it in stoppage time. What a work rate from the Turks and Caicos Islands International. Here it is right here, Daviardi with the ball, just kind of slips it in. And Forbes, from that distance, with that much space, he is not going to miss. Great right-footed finish, slots it in. And yes, he was onside. Adams playing him on. And Forbes with the goal. Two straight games with a goal for Billy Forbes.
Austin was a -4 goal differential in their last 2 losses combined. 3-1, 4-2. They are able to claw their way back, a +3 right now. 2 goals in the first half, 2 here in the second half. They did beat New Mexico United 1-0 in that season opener as well. But this will be their first victory, their first points since that season opener back in March.
And I think the way that, you know, to get 4 goals to win a game 4-1 as it looks like it's going to end, especially having conceded 7 goals in the previous 2 games, giving up, conceding late after having pulled level, it's a big lift.
Oh, the Bold not happy just yet, looking for more. So Billy Forbes now matches Ishmael Jome as your leading goal scorers for the season. 2 goals apiece. It is still the first career goal of Antes Diaf that is standing up as the game winner tonight for Austin. Jome with the assist on that potential game winner. Ish with the first and third goals of the night for the Bold. This is after Ish essentially forced an own goal to make it 2-2 last weekend.
What a revelation Jome has been. I mean, when he was signed, you figured, okay, yeah, this is a good player. He's going to add something, but I think Marcel Serrano, he couldn't be happier about the contribution that he's gotten from Jome so far.
And RGV pull one back. Again, this is already the 7th match of the year for the Toros. And that 7th match is now on the books. Austin Bold comes back from an early 1-goal deficit. They pounced on a man advantage for the bulk of this match, subsequently finding all 4 of their goals and the comeback effort up a man. We'll put a cap on this victory. Ishmael Jome, 2 goals tonight, his first 2 goals wearing a Bold kit. As Marcelo Serrano's men will go to bed tonight, climbing the standings with 3 more points in Group D.
Very impressive from the Bold, Jome, all around.
No matter what pops up during your day, Ascension makes it easy to get the care you need. See a doctor at home 24/7 with Ascension Online Care. Visit ascension.org/online care. No matter what pops up during your day, Ascension makes it easy to get the care you need. Anytime, from anywhere, with Ascension Online Care. Visit ascension.org/online care.
Crack open summer with the taste of freedom. Budweiser's red, white, and blue camo cans. Available for a limited time only. In stores now.
Well, Marcelo Serrano saw his men fall behind uncharacteristically very early in this contest. That was the goal from Cabato of RGV, but Austin Bold battled back Arch Bell, a team that got a must-needed 3 points tonight.
Huge 3 points for the Austin Bold ahead of a 5-match road trip, and you saw they were just pelting RGV. 19 shots. Ishmael Joam, what a night, 2 goals and an assist. But I think for the Austin Bold, their best performance of the season certainly helps that for 65 minutes they're playing a man up. But you got to take advantage of those opportunities, and they certainly did.
That last category, the red cards, that was 2 yellows. And boy, was that costly, as Coronado lost on that back line in the first 24 minutes, and a 1-goal lead turns into a 3-goal deficit. But everybody's still chasing San Antonio. SAFC came through here last weekend and earned those 3 points. FC Tulsa, also under new ownership with those Kraft brothers, have been a pleasant surprise in Group D. Austin Bold staying in the hunt. But really, anytime 2 teams in Group D get together, it feels like a 6-point swing.
It's always a massive match, and this was a massive one for the Bold to be able to get these 3 points. Really, it was a must-win for both teams going into it. RGV, they're going to be left to wonder what could have been up a goal, and then the sending off happened. So they'll have to try to regroup.
Well, 1 week from tonight, the Bold are back in action. August 15th will be the first road trip of the entire season for the Bold. It'll be the first of 5 away from Austin. They leave Austin with 3 more points in their back pocket. Big thank you to our entire crew here in the state capitol. For Arch Bell, I'm Lincoln Rose. The Bold bounce back 4-1. Your final over RGV.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.